In the year 1215, an extraordinary event took place in a field near London. A king cornered by his barons was forced to put his royal seal on a document that would change the course of history forever. This is the story of the Magna Carta, one of the most important documents in the fight for human rights and justice. But who was this king, and why was he forced into this unprecedented situation? Let's take a look at the story of King John and the events that led to the signing of the Magna Carta. King John of England, the youngest son of Henry II, ascended to the throne in 1199. John's reign, however, was anything but smooth. He was deeply unpopular among his barons and subjects for many reasons. His constant wars in France were draining England's treasury, and his heavy taxes were pushing the kingdom to the brink of rebellion. John's failure in France, especially the loss of important lands like Normandy, left the barons infuriated. They grew tired of paying for his military failures and corrupt governance. John's tyrannical rule, which included arbitrary arrests and violations of legal processes, made him enemies everywhere. England had no formal constitution, and kings were considered above the law. King John abused this power repeatedly, ruling with an iron fist. His relationship with the church was also strained. In 1209, he was excommunicated by Pope Innocent III after a dispute over who should be the Archbishop of Canterbury. Although John eventually reconciled with the Pope, his authority and legitimacy had been weakened. In 1215, the barons had had enough. They confronted King John and demanded a charter that would limit his powers and protect their rights. John, desperate to avoid a full-scale rebellion, agreed to meet them at Runnymede, a meadow by the River Thames. On June 15, John placed his seal on what became known as the Magna Carta, Latin for Great Charter. The Magna Carta set out fundamental principles that the king was not above the law and that his powers could be limited. But what exactly was the Magna Carta? It was a groundbreaking document containing 63 clauses aimed at curbing the king's power. The most famous of these clauses promised that no free man shall be seized or imprisoned, except by the lawful judgment of his peers or by the law of the land. This clause laid the foundation for the concept of habeas corpus, ensuring that individuals could not be arbitrarily imprisoned without a trial. The Magna Carta also included important protections for the church, limited the king's ability to raise taxes without consulting his barons, and promised swift justice for all. However, King John wasn't happy about the agreement. He had only signed the Magna Carta to buy time. Just weeks after the signing, he appealed to the Pope to annul the charter. The Pope sided with John, declaring the Magna Carta invalid. This betrayal sparked the First Barons' War, a civil conflict between John and his rebellious barons. But just a year later, King John died, and his 9-year-old son Henry III was crowned king. The Magna Carta's influence didn't end in the Middle Ages. Over the centuries, it became a symbol of liberty and justice, inspiring constitutional law in England and around the world. The Magna Carta was more than just a document. It was the beginning of a new era, an era of justice, equality, and the rule of law, values that still shape our world today.